So a really significant day for the childcare workers who've been pushing for a wage increase for many years now. From December, childcare workers on an award wage will have an extra $103 per week in their pocket. And then from December next year, when the full 15% wage increase comes through, they should have an extra $155 per week in their pockets. This is a two-pronged announcement from the Albanese government. It's going to be providing childcare centres with this money to facilitate this wage increase, but there's a condition attached. Those childcare centres need to essentially promise that they won't increase fees for families by more than 4.4% over the next year. When we look at what the Albanese government appears to be doing here, it looks like they're trying to kill two birds with one stone. They want to increase the wages of childcare workers. They also want to limit the amount that families are having to spend on childcare in the midst of this cost of living crisis. When we zoom out even further and see the broader context of this announcement, well, we know that the Albanese government is trying to really reframe and reposition the way that we look at childcare as a society. Comments from the Education Minister this morning suggesting that when it comes to childcare, really the childcare debate is over. He says it's not babysitting. They lift up our kids. He's referring to childcare workers here. We're lifting their pay. There's another element to what the Albanese government is trying to do here with this wage increase, and that's really arresting the decline in workers in this industry. We know that there have been plenty of workers in this industry leaving because of the pay and the conditions. It's something that Anthony Albanese spoke of earlier on ABC.
What we know is that during the pandemic, these are people who kept Australia and our economy going. And they deserve more than our thanks. They deserve decent wages and conditions. And the Productivity Commission inquiry has shown that unless we do something about wages in this sector, we won't have a workforce. It is the case that you shouldn't earn more just stacking shelves than you do looking after our youngest Australians in such a fantastic way.
Let's get some reaction from the people it matters to. Early childhood educators and members of the United Workers Union, Lisa Bonser and Sia Falesi, are with me here in the studio. Welcome to you both. I'm sure you have welcomed this news with much enthusiasm. Lisa, I know you've been in the industry for, over 20 years.
Yes.
How much is it in dire straits at the moment?
Oh, it's astronomical. Like, the stress that you have going to work, not knowing who you're going to be working with, if there's going to be enough staff, if we're going to have to turn families away because we can't look after their children. It's diabolical.
And it's got worse.
Yes, most definitely. Because of the stress level of the job, we've got educators that are just leaving by droves.
Sia, you're just coming into the industry.
Yes.
Why did you choose it, firstly?
I love being around children. I've grown up with kids all around me, so I just thought, why not put that to good use and be a part of children's lives and be a part of their learning journey?
Which is what most early educators would say.
Yeah.
Were you reluctant, given that you know that the pay wasn't good and that people tend to leave the profession?
Well, when I first got into the industry, I had no idea. I was naive. And then working in the industry for so many years, I'm like, we do so much, but we don't get recognised and we get paid so little, and no one really understands what goes on in the background. So this news is just, it's been amazing.
What's it meant to your lifestyle that you're basically trying to scrape through to make ends meet on the wage that you're currently on? Has it affected your whole life?
Yeah, so I've only just recently felt comfortable enough to move out of home. Me and my husband got married 2 years ago, and I've been living with my mum for years, way too long, way too long. And it's just because I don't have enough money on the pay that I make to be able to afford to put food on my table, to be able to afford rent, to be able to afford all those necessities. So living with my mum was just the easier option. But now, knowing that this pay rise is coming, I've literally just recently moved out of home on the weekend, and this is going to help me and my husband so much.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Lisa, what has morale been like amongst early educators?
Recently, it's like, oh, we'll hang in there. We'll see how we go. Give it to the end of the year.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to start looking for another job because it's not worth it. But with this news, I can guarantee there's going to be a lot of educators that are sticking.
What do you think the perception, Lisa, has been on early educators, of early educators? The Prime Minister's talking about putting it on a par with teaching because it is a profession. Is that how it's felt?
Oh, most definitely. The amount of paperwork and the research that we do ongoing. I'm an educational leader at our centre, so with that role, it's my duty to make sure that the educators are being educated in the right way. So we are there to make sure the children are learning the best possible way that they can. If we don't get it right in the first 5 years, those children struggle. And there's scientific proof, there's so much proof that's proven that when children that haven't been in early education, they do start school, they are struggling and they are further behind those other children.
Do you think that the perception, though, in the past has been that you shouldn't be, or you aren't on the same rank as a teacher?
Look, being in the industry for as long as I have, when I first started, it was seen as more as being child carers.
Yeah.
Or babysitters.
Babysitters.
Yeah, I've heard that term used a lot.
Yeah.
And we're not. We're so much more than that.
It's early education.
Yeah.
That's what we do. We have to study. We have to ongoing training. It's
Just because we've got our diplomas and our certificates, our training doesn't stop there. It's literally year after year. We have to do mandatory trainings. If we want to upskill, we have to enrol in those courses. Like, it does not stop.
And Sia, what's the impact on the children in your centre if you have a constant changing stream of educators?
They just don't settle, and they build. Because some of my children I've had since they were in nursery, and you build those bonds with them. They spend more time with us than they do at home. And just having the constant revolving door of educators, you can tell they're not settled, they're upset a lot more, they don't get that constant education, they don't build those bonds.
It's a trauma response.
Yeah.
And what did the parents say to you, Lisa? I mean, you know, they must be pleased by this as well. They'll be worrying that their prices go up, but there is a provision for that in what the agreement is. What do parents say?
I actually had a mother that spoke to me yesterday as she dropped her child off, and the room was louder than what it would normally be, and she's like, I don't know how you do your job. And I'm like, because I have your child come and give me cuddles, and it's beautiful, and the love that you get in return from the children.
Yeah.
But the parents are so on board for this to happen. Like, they have been so supportive with campaigns that we've done in the past. They've been there to stand by us constantly.
Yeah.
And they say, you don't get enough money.
So there will be a big recruitment drive now because there is a shortage of...
a massive shortage.
Right. So what's the selling point? I mean, how do you draw people in coming from school or later in life?
It's a profession. And that's what this pay increase is going to be seen as being. We are in an actual profession. It's not a job, it's a career.
Yeah.
You know, and you have to have the right sort of passion. And there's so many, it's those, what do we call those, invisible skills?
Yeah.
That nurturing and caring and, you know, that sort of stuff that you can't be trained, but you've got to have that passion within inside you to come out and be in early education. There's so many Australians and so many, you know, people that would be amazing for the job, and now they're going to possibly have that opportunity to do it because of being recognised and having a better pay.
That's probably been what stopped people the most, is because everyone knows that we don't get paid enough. And when you talk to people and they're like, I don't know how you do your job, you don't get paid that much, like, I wouldn't do that. And I'm like, yeah, that's because you might not have that passion there. I've had the passion for 8 years now, but that passion, if I'm honest, has slowly been dying because we don't get recognised and we haven't been getting paid what we're worth. And now this news it's just felt like we've had it at the tip of our fingers, and now we've finally got a hold of it, and it's just going to make such a difference in our industry.